Okay, let's go. Let's continue Gemara sota. They don't do it? Halabim we do on Yom Sheni Yashamnu, Yom Hamishi Tamanu. That's what we do. I think there's a lot pasta. Okay. So we continue in the Gemara. Sota, Yud Aleph Amud Bet. We were talking about the two midwives, the Shem HaHat Shifra, and Shem HaShni Pu'ah. And we said it's a mahloket. Yesh omrim, it's Yocheved and Miriam. Yesh omrim, it's Yocheved and Elisheva, Aharon's wife. Elisheva bat Aminadab, Nachshon's sister. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Right in the middle of the page. We're smack in the middle of the page. Shifra. Why was she called Shifra? Shifra, Zu Yocheved, Shifra. Shifra is Yocheved. V'lama nekra shema Shifra. Thank you, Mrs. Dweck. Shemeshaperet et havlad. Shipur means nice, good. She would make the vlad. I have my drink, thank you. She make the vlad, the baby, very nice. There's Rashi. Rashi says, and Rashi. And the Barahet, Shifra, Shiparu v'rabu Israel. There's Lashon Ribui, they multiplied. Pu'ah, what is Pu'ah? Pu'ah zu Miriam. Lama nekra shema Pu'ah. Why was Miriam called Pu'ah? Shayeta Pu'eh u'motziat havlad. She would Pu'ah, I know we say poo, 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 but she says Pu'ah is so'eket, she would scream. Kemo kayolada if'ah. And Tosafot says, on the top right, Pu'ah means, Piresh Rabbeinu Hananel, loheshet lahisha. It means to whisper. She would whisper in the mother's ear, ve'otzeh havlad, and the baby would come out. That's what Pu'ah. Kemo she'osim elu achjav be'oznei ha'isha. Tosafot says, people still did it in his days. When the woman's in labor, they whisper in the ear, time to come out. Baby comes out. Some people know how to do this. Worth a lot of money. So this is Pu'ah. This is either Pu'ah, again, either Miriam or Elisheva bat Aminadab. Now, the Bara had another explanation. Pu'ah, Tapo'eh beruach hakodesh. She would look. Pu'ah means to look. She would look in Ruach HaKodesh. Ve'omeret, and she would say, Atida imi sheteled ben shemoshia et Israel. My mother is going to give birth to the Mashiach. This is a nivu'ah that she had. רק ליהודיות, רק ליהודים. מילדות שלהם. זה our מילדות. And pu'ah means to scream. She would also scream her nivu'ah. I see a nivu'ah, my mother is going to give birth to Mashiach. Vayomed. Why didn't he just fire them?
No.
Yeah, that's a question. I always have this question. Just fire them. They're doing a bad job, right? Your job is to do abortions, and we have more children than ever. Fire them. I always assume from here, Paro, he wasn't able to mistama kill people outright like Hitler, it seems. Maybe he had limitations. Let's see, Vayomer. Paro says, it says in the Pasuk, it's Yair. Vayomer, Paro tells these two ladies, B'yaladchen et ha'ivriot uliten ala ovnayim. In benu v'amiten oto v'imbati b'haya. Which means literally, he tells the girls, when the girls are giving birth, look ala ovnayim, look on the stones, on the rocks. If it's a boy, kill him. If it's a girl, let it live. Says the Gemara, my of nine. What kind of rocks? What stones are you talking about? My of nine. Amar Rabbi Hanan. Rabbi Hanan says, he tells the women, I'm going to give you a siman. Siman masalehem. I'm going to teach you, how do you know when the baby is about to pop out? Because you're going to say, oh, I didn't know the baby was coming. I missed it. The baby's already alive. Again, we see over here, it seems he wasn't able to kill the babies. Why don't you just kill them? Seems like once they were born, because the women answered him, sorry, we missed it. It's too late. The babies were born. So kill them now. It seems he wasn't able to do that. It wasn't like Hitler. It seems he was abortions he was trying to do. But once the babies were born, it's too late in the beginning. So Siman Gadol Masalen, he taught these girls and he said, listen, don't tell me you don't know when the baby's coming and you missed it. You were in the other room and the baby came out. I'll tell you how you know the baby's coming this minute. Siman Masalahem. Amar, Bisha'a Shikora'at Liled, Yerchoteha Mistanenot Ka'avanim. When her thighs get cold like rocks, that means the baby's about to come out. The woman's going to turn cold. When you feel her thigh and it's cold, baby's coming out right now. There's a Paro told her. Bite Amar, and some say, Kedichtiv, Va'ered Bet Hayotzed, V'yinu Osim Melecha Ala Ovnaim. If you look at a guy who does Kili Cheres, he does pottery, a potter, is that what they call it? A guy who is spinning pottery. Well, how does he sit? Mayot says there, he sits like this, with one knee on one side and one knee on the other side, and the pot is in the middle, and he's working it. So too, Af Isha, Yarech Mikan, Yarech Mikan, Ve'avlad Be'emsa. He's saying, look on the stones. In other words, the plate, just like a potter has a stone in the middle, the woman has to open her legs and the baby's going to come out. That's where you go and you catch the baby and kill it before it comes out. If it's a son, kill it. Amar Bi Hanina, how do you know it's going to be a boy? Again, from this point, in this stage of the story, Paro wasn't Hitler. He wasn't killing the kids outright. He was only doing abortion. It took Paro some time, and it got worse and worse and worse. In the beginning, he was doing abortion, like a lefty. And so, he said, how do you know it's going to be a boy? So, Siman Gadol Masalahen. Amar, then Panav Lemata, but Paneha Lemala. If the baby is facing down, it's a boy. If the baby is facing up, it's a girl. The same thing, the derech tashmish, the way they go in, the way they come out. The usual derech tashmish is the man is facing down, so too, the baby is facing down as a boy, and if the baby is facing up, it's going to be a girl. I don't remember. You remember? יאיר, אתה זוכר את הבנים שלך? אתה זוכר את הבנות שלך? Facing up or facing down? I don't know. You had twins. he had twins, this guy. He doesn't know. מה, אתה מפחד? ותראינה מייסדות את האלוהים, and the midwives, they feared God. They didn't do kashet dibet alehem. What does this mean? They didn't do what he spoke to them. It's a weird way of saying this. It should have said kashet dibet lahem, that he told them to do. He didn't do what he told them to do. He says no. They didn't do kashet dibet alehem, which means doing something to them. What was he trying to do to them? So the Gemara says, why does it alehem? Lahen min ba'ileh. I should have just said, v'lo asu kashet dibet lahen. What does it mean, alehen? Amar Rabbi Yosef ben Hanina, he wanted to do something to them also. Besides for their job to get to do abortion, he told them also, I also want you guys to do another thing. I want you to be with me. Yocheved and Miriam, or Elisheva, to be with Tab'an Tashmish. He wanted to be with them. They said, no, we're not doing it. And so in addition to not listening to the abortion, they didn't listen to his advances also. Maybe, this is my opinion, maybe this is why he couldn't just go kill the babies, because then they would just tell everyone the secret that the Melech, he asked us to be with him. And so maybe that's why he couldn't go kill the babies. But tehayena et hayladim, they let the children live. Tana. Why didn't he kill the babies though? But why didn't he kill the babies? That's the big question. Afterwards. Yeah, so afterwards, the Gemara says later it was a progression. Eventually, he just started killing all the babies. In the beginning, that's how things always start. In the beginning, it was slow. 130 years old. Because Yocheved, the Gemara is going to say, we're going to talk about that next page. Yocheved, she had the life. She became like a young person again. In this. Yeah. Yeah, Yocheved was 130.
Why? Sarah was 100 years. Wow, big deal.
Yes. A lot of Mefashim ask these questions. There's a few answers. Number one, Sarah, this was her first baby at 90. Her first one. Yocheved already had a couple, but doesn't answer the question great. Because how old was Miriam? So Safot says, I think Miriam was 14 or 11, something like this. So Miriam, even if Miriam, she had Miriam at 120, the Evan Ezra asked this question, I think. Yocheved should have been a massive miracle. Okay, this is a lot of answers. Okay. So they answered Paro, they said, we can't do abortion. He says, hey, why are you not aborting the boys? We can't. Why can't you? So they said, what? Because the female Jews are not the same as the female Mitzrim. I'm sorry, what do you want from us? They're too quick. The Jewish girls, they pop out the babies. That's what he says, huh? מה זה התבודדות? מה זה? No, separate. מה עשו ביהודים? מה עשו? ויקוצו מפני בני ישראל. They didn't like us. We had our own Jewish. So they said, Paro, we can't do it. They said, Paro, we're trying to kill the boys. We can't. Every time we turn around to get the lady a cup of water, we come out, the baby's done already. We miss it every time we miss the boat. So what they say, it says in the pasuk, that's what it says in the pasuk. Hayot henna means they are. Hayot means what? They are wild. They are midwives. Haya is also a midwife. There's a couple of ways. What does the pasuk mean? It's a pasuk. Oh, sorry, Paro. Hayot henna. They're like animals. But what's the excuse that they don't even need us? We come to help them. The baby's already here. That's what they're trying to tell Paro. We missed it. So what are they saying? Let's see what it says. My hayot. What are they saying, Paro? Hayot henna. What? Yeah. My hayot. The Gemara says, my hayot. What does it mean, hayot? There are hayot. Ilema hayot mamash. You're saying, each of the Jewish ladies are midwives. They're like doctors. They know how to give birth by themselves. That's what they were saying. If you say that's what they were saying, even a doctor needs a doctor. Even a midwife needs a midwife. The doctor that delivers my wife's baby, when she gives birth, she needs a different doctor. That's not an excuse. They're animals. They said, Parot, these ladies are like animals. They don't need midwives. Does the animal need a midwife? No, the animal goes in the field, boom, a horse comes out. These ladies, they don't need us. What does it say? How do I know Parot? Yehuda, it says, Gur Aryeh Yehuda. Look at the Yehuda is a lion. Dan is a nahash. Dan is a snake. Naphtali is ayala shiluha. Naphtali is a deer. Yisachar hamor darem. Yisachar is a donkey. Binyamin, Yosef is a bechor shol. Yosef is a ram. Binyamin is a ebit raf. Binyamin is a wolf. By the way, the Rabbeinu Ephraim. I think I told you this, yeah? Rabbeinu Ephraim, one of the old Baalei Tosafot, he says Binyamin was a werewolf. How do you say werewolf in Hebrew? Yeah, Binyamin is every trap. At nighttime, Yeah, but that's what it says. Baboked yochal ad, in the morning. So dichtiv be, so dichtiv be, ketiv be. All these examples of shevatim being compared to animals, you can see udlo ketiv be, and if you can say, oh, maybe she's from a different shevet that is not compared to an animal. They're all animals. Dichtiv be, as it says, ma imecha leviyah ben arayot rabetza. We're all animals. We're all lions. Our mothers are all lions. So they said to Paro, I'm sorry, the physiology of the Jewish woman, she doesn't need a midwife. We keep missing it. I'm sorry. We have a very bad record. We're 0 abortions. Every time we turn around, they have the baby with us. Vahi. When they feared Hashem by doing this, Hashem gave them houses. What does Rashi say? Very famous there, right? Right? Rab says he gave them the houses of Kohanim and Leviim, which makes a lot of sense because this is Yocheved. Yocheved would have. Oh, David, you want to get it? No, yeah, David. Batei Chiuna and Leviah. Who gets the Kiuna? You have Miriam. Miriam gets what? Which one gets which? You ever think about this? He gives them Kohanim. Yocheved gets Kiuna. Very good. That's next. But for this Peshat, the first Peshat is Batei Kiuna and Leviah. Kohanim and Leviim. Miriam, there's no Kohanim for Miriam. Miriam's brother is the Kohen. So Miriam is a Levi. Good. Yocheved gets the Kohanim from Aharon. Make sense? The second Peshat, the Hadamad, Batim Malchut. The kingship. Who's the kingship? You've just said the king. Who's the king? David HaMelech comes from Yehuda's Yocheved. How is the reward king from them? Who comes from the king? Yehuda. The king comes from Miriam or Yocheved? Miriam. Says, Batei Kiuna v'Leah, Aharon u'Moshe. Umad Amar Batim Malchut, David HaMelech. Nami mi Miriam Ka'ati. David HaMelech's grandmother was Miriam. How? Tichtiv, it says in Divrei Yamim, it says, in the Chronicles, in the book of Divrei Yamim, it says the follows. It says the following. Vatamot Azuva Eshet Kalev. Azuv. I'm going to translate just the way the pasuk is written, and then we have to translate it again. Vatamot Azuva Eshet Kalev, which seems like it says, Azuva, the wife of Kalev, died. Kalev ben, was from Shevet Yehuda. Kalev is from Yehuda. Vatamot Azuva Eshet Kalev. Let's get the whole pasuk. Azuva, the wife of Kalev, died. Vayikachlo Kalev et Efrat. And so Kalev married Efrat, which seems to be once Azuva died, he married a new wife named Efrat. Vaterelo et Hur, and he had Hur. And Hur is the one who was killed during the Egel. So Hur was the nephew of Moshe, because Hur was the son of Miriam and Kalev. So far, so good? Okay. There's another pasuk. Pasuk says, David ben Ish Efrati. David is from Efrat. Who's Efrat? Efrat is the wife of Kalev. Because after Azuva died, it says, He veikachlo Kalev et Efrat. So must be Efrat was Miriam, and David came from them. So the Gemara says, V'chalev ben Hesron. It's another pasuk. Ready for this pasuk? V'chalev ben Hesron. Chalev's father was Hesron. 1 second. Who was his father? Yefuneh or Hesron? Who's Caleb's father? Chalev's father was Hesron, it says. The Hesron says, Holidit Azuva Isha. He gave birth, again, I'm just reading the pasuk like it sounds. He gave birth to Azuva. He gave birth to Azuva. It says Azuva was his wife in the other pasuk. Ve'et Yeriot, and he had Yeriot. Ve'ela baneha, these are her children. Yesher, Shovav, Ve'ardon. These are the Pesukim. Now we have to understand what's going on with Kalev. Ben Hesron, Ben Yefuneh. Caleb's father is Hesron or Yefuneh? No, it's really Hesron. His real name was Hetzron. Ben Yefune Shefana Me'asat Meragilim. Yefune means he turned away from the Meragilim. His father's name was not Yefune. His father's name was Hetzron. Okay? The Akati, we have a question. Caleb's father was Hetzron, Yefune. What was Caleb's brother's name? Atniel ben Kenaz. Atniel ben Kenaz was his brother. Kenaz is his father's name. How many names does his father have? Kenaz, Yefune, or Hetzron? תכתיב וילכדיה Atniel ben Kenaz, Ahi Kalev. Atniel ben Kenaz, he defeated and he got to marry the girl, Yeshua's daughter. I think Yeshua's daughter. Ahi Kalev, the brother of Kalev. Amar Abarabba says no. Horgo, Hetzron was the father of Kalev. Hetzron was the real name. Yefune is just talking about Kalev. Kalev ben Yefune. Kalev, the one who turned away from the Menaginim. Nothing to do with his father. And what about Atniel ben Kenaz? It's his brother. Atniel ben Kenaz, they shared a mother. Kenaz was his stepfather. Atniel ben Kenaz and the mother, and Kalev ben Hesron and the same mother. She must have remarried a guy named Kenaz after being married to Hesron. Okay, we gotta talk more about this family. Dekanami, this makes sense. Dichtiv, Kalev ben Yefune HaKenizi. It's called Caleb the Kenizi. Kenaz was his stepfather, his brother's father. Who's Azuvah? We said again, Vatamot Azuvah ish Caleb. The Azuvah died and he married Ephrat. Who's Azuvah? Who's this woman Azuvah? Pasuk said, the Gemara says, Azuvah is Miriam. Miriam is Azuvah. What is Velama Kashema Azuvah? Why would you call Miriam Azuvah? What does Azuvah mean? La'azov. Everyone left her. La'azov means to desert her. She was all alone. Why? She'akol azavu hametahilata. No one wanted to marry her, Miriam, because Miriam was very sick. Miriam got very sick, and she became very ugly from her sickness. No one wanted to marry the sister of Moshe Rabbeinu, Miriam. Caleb married her. Caleb said, I don't care what you look like. You're the sister of Moshe Aharon, the daughter of Amram. I don't care what condition you have, I'm marrying you. And so he married Azuvah. Okay, so when it says Vatamot Azuvah, it's talking about Miriam. So far, so good? Now, the Gemara says, Caleb ben Hesron holidit Azuvah. He gave birth to Azuvah. Was it his wife? Or did he give birth to her? Answer is it's the same thing. He was married to her, not her father. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Kol hanoseh isha l'shem shamayim. If you marry a woman l'shem shamayim for no other reason other than she's a sadeket, ma'aleh alav hakatuv ki'ilu yelada. It's like you're her father also. And so really it was you gave her the whole life. You gave her. That's what she says. She says she had no life without you. Nobody wanted to marry her. She was all alone. You gave her a life. It's like you gave birth to her also. You're her father also.
When they went out to Mitzrayim, he was already married and kids. He was only
Hetzron? Who did he marry? You know? Yeah. The reason why we have to say this is because, the reason why we have to say Hetzron got married so young, because how can Caleb marry Moshe's sister? Caleb was like way younger, it seems, than Moshe. How? Must be Caleb was older than we think. We look at Caleb like he's a little boy. Moshe blesses Caleb. Caleb married his older sister. So Caleb ben Yefune was Moshe's older brother-in-law. And Miriam was the oldest in the family. He must have been born way before. Yeah, so we think he was a little boy. Caleb was not. He was older. Intermarriage and all. So Caleb was Moshe's brother-in-law. Okay? Now, it says in the Pasuk back to the same pasuk. It says, he gave birth to Yeriot, and her children were Yesher, Shovav, Ve'erdon. All these names are not real people. They're just speaking about Kalev, basically. And so, Yeriot. Who's Yeriot? Yeriot is Miriam, also Miriam. Yeriot means like a sheet, like white, like a sheet. All the blood was drained from her face. She looked like pale. She was ugly. Yeriot. When she was sick, she had no flesh. She was ugly when he married her. Ve'ela baneha, and these are the children: Yesher, Shovav, and Ardon. Atekreb baneha, not her children, ela boneha, her builder. Who was her builder? Her husband. Her husband built her into a life. All these three people are Kalev. What does it mean? Yesher. Yesher means she yesher al atzmo. He kept himself on the straight path, not to go after the menagilim. It's Kalev. Next one, Shovav. Shovav means to rule over. Sheshivev yitzro. He conquered his yetzer. Ardon shirada yitzro. He was Moshel, and he said, I am in charge of my yetzer hara. Vika de amri ashiu paneha. What does it mean, Ardon? Some people say Ardon is back to Miriam. Why Ardon? Is lashon vered. That she says, Ardon, her face was like a rose, vered. Alshen Ardon. Ashiu paneha domin levered. So the first person in the Torah ever named Rose Vered was Miriam when she got cured. So how do you read the pasuk? You read it like this: Vatamot Azuva Shekalev. Azuva, the ugly girl that he married, died because the sickness went away. She got better after he married her, and she became beautiful again. Ifrat, and then she became Ifrat, and she was now beautiful like a rose. It's all To'ad. It's all descriptors, like Mordechai. Ben Ya'id, Ben She'ir et ha'olam, Ben Kish, Misha Shakash ala Dalte Shamayim. It's all descriptors. These are not people. They're describing the person. Now, the Gemara says, by the way, Yariv, remember this? So Kalev married Miriam. Who else did Kalev marry? Gemara Baba Batra. Remember this? Gemara Baba Batra says Kalev ben Yefuneh's wife was Batia bat Paro. As the Gemara says, Mashma, either the Halkim Zeazeh, they disagree, or they agree, and he had two wives. He married Batia, who was the mother of Moshe. And then must be Azuvan. Nobody wanted to marry Miriam. He says, wow, look at this great girl. I'm going to scoop her up. I'll take her also. He married it. Now he's Moshe's brother-in-law and stepfather, Kalev. You got the lineage? Moshe Rabbeinu, he married his stepmother and his older sister, Kalev. He hit the lottery. Kalev, he went after the good girls. Okay. It says forward, talking about Kalev, in Divrei Yamim chapter 1, it says, Ul Ashhud Avit Tekoa Hayashetin Nashim. It's talking about Kalev. He had two wives, Hel'ah ve'Na'ara. Ashhud ze Kalev. Ashhud means Kalev. Ashhud. Why is it called Ashhud? Shushharu panav b'ta'aniyot. He fasted so many ta'aniyot, so many fasts to make sure he doesn't fall with the menagilim. His face became dark. Shahud. Avi shena'asela ke'av. She was like her father, like the Gemara says. Takoa. Shetaka'af libo la'avi b'shamayim. He planted his heart to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and he had two wives, shte nashim. It's the same woman again. It's all Miriam. Na'asa Miriam k'shte nashim. Hal'ah v'na'ara. Hal'ah means sick, holy. The sick one, and then when she became better, she was like a na'ara. She was like beautiful, like a young girl again. It's the same one. But the hal'ah ul basof na'ara. Uvnei hal'ah, the pasuk goes on, and her children was Seret, Sohad, ve'etnan. So again, Ubnei Hil'ah, Miriam's children were Seret, Sohar, and Etnan. Gemara says Seret means Shena'aset Sanal Lehavroteha. Everyone was challenged by her when she became beautiful again. She was so beautiful. All the other women were like upset at her. She was a tzara to them. Sohar, Shehayu Panea Domim Katzaorayim. Her face was like the afternoon, it was shining. That's how she became beautiful. Etnan, how do you know this? Where does it say in the Torah Etnan? Where in the pasuk it says Etnan? Lotavi Etnan Zona, Etnan, Bishukol Aroea Otamolich, Etnan Ishto. Etnan is a gift in exchange for tashmish, in exchange for relations. Any man who saw Miriam when she was healed in the street, he was so struck by her beauty, he went straight home to his wife. He says, I have a present for you. I need to conquer this Yetzer Hara. The Gemara always talks about this. There were even Abedin. The Gemara says one time there was the Abedin, that a gorgeous woman went into the Abedin. The Gemara says the gorgeous woman, she went to the Abedin. She was an amana, she was a widow. And she says, why do I get such a small amount from the estate? I need a big amount so I can. I used to have, when my husband was alive, he gave me a lot of wine to drink and everything. And so he says, what's the problem, Abedin? He's a big tzaddik. He says, we gave you enough wine to drink every single day. She says, when my husband was alive, he used to give me this much. And her sleeves went down. When she did this, when it says immediately he went straight home. He went straight up to his wife. He says, straight to the room. He's Yetzer Hara, I gotta go take care of it right away. So that's what this is, Miriam. Anyone who's so, yeah, you gotta go straight, channel it for the good things immediately. Okay, now I want to read you one thing that I think is unbelievable. So let's go a little bit more. I'm going to skip this piece and we'll come back to it next week. So I want to read you this crazy thing. I'm going to skip a little bit. We'll read it next week. I want to skip to Vatere Oto Kitovu. Listen to this. Ezra, you ready for this? This is crazy. Vatere Oto Kitovu, she saw that he was good. Next week we have to go back and read the Gemara. Vatere Oto Kitovu, she saw the boy was good. Tanya, Rabbi Meir Omer Tov Shemo. Moshe's name was Tov. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Tuvia Shemo. His name was Tuvia. Either one. It's a mahloket. Rabbi Nehemiah Omer Hagun Neviut. He was already prepared for Neviut the second he was born. He was like a prophet. He was a prodigy. Aharim Omrim, other people say, No, he came out with a Brit Milah. So Moshe was like, came out of the second he came into this world, there's no doubt he was like Mashiach, instantly. The whole house was filled with light. Hashem sees the light is good. So listen to this. I want to read you this. Everyone here is saying Moshe Rabbeinu was like, when he came out of this, it's the most amazing kid, perfect. Listen to this. On the Mishnah, there's a pirush called Yachin and Boaz. In the Yachin for a Mishnah over here, there's a Mishnah Kiddushin that's talking about, the Gemara says, Tov Harofiim L'Gehinam. The best doctors go to Gehinam. It's a whole Gemara over there. Listen to this. He says, there's a letter he found written, like some sort of a midrash, although it's not in our midrash. The Ban Nehmad. When Moshe saved us from Egypt, everyone heard and they were trembling, all the nations. Everyone was in shock about this man Moshe. All these amazing things happened by his hand. An Arabic king was awakened. Now, was it Arabia back then? I don't even know if there was something as called as Arabia. I'm not sure. It says an Arabian king said, Vayishlach Sayad Muvhad, he sent a painter, expert painter, L'tzayed Timunat Hamanhig Hagadol Hazeh Ulhabio Elav, to paint a portrait of Moshe Rabbeinu. It's stories. There are a lot of people who say this is nonsense. He's bringing this. Many mefashim who say this is utter nonsense. This king from Arabia sent the painter to what? To the Midbar, and they took him in and he said, "I'm here to paint a picture of Moshe Rabbeinu." It's kind of weird. Vayelech hatzayad, and he went. Vayatzayed timunato vayebiel lefnei hamelech. He painted Moshe and he brought it back home to the king. Vayishlach shu hamelech vayavi vayesof yachdav kol hachmei harashim asher lo. He brought all his wise people to look at the picture. וישאל להם נפשות כי על פי פרצוף פניו של משה כפי המצוין לדעת תכונת טבעו ומידותיו. He said these people that know how to read the faces. He said, look at this picture of this guy and tell me what this guy is. This is Moshe Rabbeinu's picture. ובמה כוחו גדול. What are his strengths? וישיבו כל החכמים יחדיו אל המלך ויאמרו. All these Arabian advisors told him, אם נשפט על פי ציור כלסתת פניו של איש הזה המפורסם לגדול, נאמר לאדוננו כי הוא רע מעללים. Just by looking at his face, we can see he's a terrible person. בגאות וחמדת הממון. He's a haughty, he loves money, שירות הלב, בכל חסרונות שבעולם, שיגנו נפש האדם המעלה. He has all the worst things you could ask for. We see in this picture a terrible guy. ויקסוף המלך מאוד. He got very angry. ויאמר, and he says, מה זה? הכי תתעלו בי, you guys are joking? הלא בכל אלה שמעתי מכל עבר ופינה, בהפך מזה האיש הגדול. Everyone says this is the greatest guy ever. ויחרדו אנשים מאוד, they were all scared, וישיבו את המלך בשפל כל התחנה, והתנצלו את עצמם הצייר והחכמים, כל אחד בחסרון ידיעת חברו, הצייר אמר, אני ציירתיו כהוגן. They went to the guy that said, did you paint him correctly? He said, I painted him exactly the way he looks. Are you sure this is correct? Hachamim shagu b'yediatam. He says, must be all your advisors are a bunch of nonsense. They don't know what they're talking about. And they said, no, must be you didn't paint him correctly because the way we see him, he's a terrible guy. The king wants to know which one's right, the painter or the guys. He went himself. He went himself to the Midbar. And he comes to the Jewish camp. He sees Moshe Rabbeinu. He takes out the picture. It's a perfect picture of Moshe Rabbeinu. So the painter did a good job, and it was exactly Moshe. He says, how could this be? All my advisors look at the picture and they say this picture is a picture of a guy who's a bad guy. And he goes, I'm not sure if this is possible. He goes to Moshe's tent. He bows down to Moshe. He told Moshe everything. We painted you, we brought you back, they said you're bad. ויאמר עוד, בי אדוני איש האלוהים. הנני קודם ראותי פניך פני אלוהים אמרתי, אך אולי הצייר שגם ממלאכתו. I thought the painter did a bad job painting you. ובעבור חכמים מפורסמים, ובקיאים מאוד בחכמת הפיזיונומי, ואין דוגמתם. How can my guys be wrong? My expert physiologists be wrong. Now that I see your picture is exactly, it matches the picture you have. Must be all my advisors are playing with me. I should just kill them all. They're all lying to me. What kind of wise people do I have? I feed them. They feed me a lot of nonsense. Moshe tells them, and he tells the king, and he says, "Lochen, no, gam hatzayar, gam hachamecha niflaim hem biyedatam v'chokmatam." They're both right. The picture is a perfect picture, and all these guys who says I'm a terrible guy are also right. Ulam da'lecha yishana, ilole haiti beteva be'emet kifi sheshamata memidotai, lo tov anochim mavul etz yavesh כי גם ממנו נמנעו ונחסכו כל חסרונות האדם. ואם כן, הכי בעבור זה היה יקר בעיני אלוהים והאדם, אמנם כן ידידי, לא אבוש לומר לך, כי כל החסרונות אשר שפטו עלי חכמיך, כולם קשורים בי בטבע. Everything bad they see in the picture is true. I am a very, very bad person inside. Deep inside, I want to do all these bad things. And there's actually worse things in me that they didn't even catch. I worked very hard to become a good person. I was not born like this. I was born bad, and I turned myself to good. I made myself a new nature. That's why Hashem loves me so much, because I changed my teva from bad to good. So he goes on. This midrash, whatever this is, it's not in the midrashim. There are many people who say, this is true or not. The Gemara says he was born mahul, he was born, the light came in the room, he was born with a navi. Which one is it? Was Moshe Rabbeinu born good, or was Moshe Rabbeinu born bad and he changed himself to good? I heard one time someone wants to say, this is the mahloket. Was his name Tov or Tovia? Tov means good, finished. You don't have to work on nothing. You're just good. You're born this way. Tovia means you're good for Hashem, but you really wouldn't be good otherwise. So it's maybe people say he had both names. Maybe you can say it's either or. Is this nonsense? We're not sure if this is nonsense. It could be mamash tuyot. I heard from someone that the grandson of the Baal Shem Tov said that the Baal Shem Tov agreed with this. And he said Moshe Rabbeinu was not born good. He was born bad. And he changed himself. And then I also heard that the Lubavitcher Rebbe was asked by Rav Mordechai Eliyahu. I forgot the name of the person. I think Rabbi Kratz. I saw this in the Shiur. He says, Mordechai Eliyahu asked the Baal Shem Tov, and he says, what do you think about this? And the Lubavitcher asked Lubavitcher Rebbe. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, there's no way on earth Moshe Rabbeinu, who was born great, he was always great, he didn't. So therefore, you pick it or lose it. You like it, you don't like it. It's an interesting thing. Take it or leave it. We'll continue next week. How could they look at his face and see all those bad things? We'll continue next week.